Imagine sitting in a question time audience, watching politicians dance around questions with their rehearsed talking points and polished smiles, and finally having enough. Just absolutely having enough. Standing up and erupting with pure, unfiltered rage at the entire political class. Demanding to know how anyone is supposed to trust any of them when they have all let you down. That is exactly what happened on a recent episode of Question Time. And honestly, it was glorious. A retired police officer stood up and absolutely shredded the panel, calling out both the Tories and Labour for picking the pockets of ordinary people, while claiming to fix the economy. The panel members looked like they wanted the ground to swallow them whole. And the best part? He was speaking for millions of Britons who feel exactly the same way. Buckle up, because this is about to get spicy. If you're absolutely here for this level of unfiltered political chaos, hit that subscribe button right now. Over 92% of you watching have not subscribed yet. It is free. Takes literally 1 second. And it helps us keep bringing you the Westminster drama they do not want you to see. Smash that notification bell too, so you never miss the fireworks. Thank you if you just did. Right, back to the carnage. So let us set the scene. Question Time, the BBC's flagship political debate programme, where politicians face questions from real people and pretend they care about the answers. The topic of the night was whether Sir Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves should resign if they break their tax pledges in the autumn budget. Already a loaded question, right? Because everyone knows the tax pledges are going to be broken. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of how badly and how they will try to spin it. The panel included Labour Party Chair Anna Turley, former Tory Energy Minister Graham Stewart, General Secretary of the TUC Paul Nowak, and Daily Telegraph columnist Tim Stanley. So you thought Labour representation, Tory representation, union representation and media commentary. A nice, balanced panel, at least on paper. But then this retired police officer stands up, and you can immediately tell he's not there to play nice. He is not there to ask a polite question and accept whatever nonsense answer he gets fed. He's there to vent, and vent he does. He talks about how under the Conservatives and their austerity policies, he watched his salary decrease year on year. Not stagnate, not fail to keep up with inflation. Actually decrease. This is a man who spent his career serving the public, putting himself in danger to keep communities safe. And his reward was watching his income shrink while politicians told him it was necessary to fix the economy. Except here is the thing. The economy was not fixed. After years of cuts, years of belt tightening, years of being told to tighten their belts just a bit more, the economy was still broken. Austerity did not work. It just made people poorer while the rich got richer. But wait, it gets better. Or worse, depending on your perspective. Because then he pivots to Labour, the party that was supposed to be different. The party that was supposed to care about working people. The party that promised change. And what does he say? Labour are now picking your pockets. That is not a gentle criticism. That is an accusation. He is saying Labour campaigned on being different, on protecting ordinary people, on not being the Tories, and then got into power and immediately started reaching into people's wallets. Tax rises, benefit cuts, broken promises. The same playbook as the Conservatives, just with a red rosette instead of a blue one. And then comes the question that encapsulates everything so many people are feeling right now. How can I possibly trust any of you? How can I trust any of you? That is not a rhetorical flourish. That is a genuine, desperate question from someone who has been let down by every political party he has ever supported. He trusted the Conservatives and they gutted his income. He presumably gave Labour a chance and they are doing the same thing. So what is he supposed to do? Who is he supposed to vote for? Where is he supposed to place his trust when every option has proven to be a betrayal? It is the question that is haunting British politics right now. And no one on that panel had a good answer for him. You could see it in their faces. The panel members did not have a snappy comeback. They did not have a clever deflection. They just sat there, slightly uncomfortable, realising that this man had just articulated the rage of an entire nation. Anna Turley, representing Labour, had to defend a government that has been in power for barely over a year and is already accused of pocket-picking. Graham Stewart, representing the Tories, had to somehow defend 14 years of austerity that demonstrably did not work. Paul Nowak from the TUC tried to represent workers while unions are increasingly powerless. And Tim Stanley had to provide commentary on a political system that is clearly failing. No one had a winning hand here. But the fun did not stop there. Oh no. The discussion then moved to another recent government disaster. The accidental release of prisoners. Because apparently, on top of everything else going wrong, the government cannot even keep track of who should be in prison and who should not. 2 men were mistakenly released from HMP Wandsworth recently. 2. That is not a paperwork typo. That is a systemic failure. One of them was Brahim Kadour Sharif, a sex offender who was convicted of indecent exposure. He was supposed to be on a community order and the sex offenders register for 5 years. Somehow, he ended up being released from prison when he should not have been. The other was William Smith, a fraudster, serving 45 months for multiple fraud offences. He was just let out. Whoops! Our bad. Do not worry, though. Smith did the government's job for them and handed himself back in on Thursday. Imagine being such a mess that a convicted fraudster has more integrity than your prison system. Graham Stewart, the former Tory minister, jumped all over this. He accused the government of being dishonest about the releases and said something has gone badly wrong since Labour came into power. Which is rich coming from a Tory, considering the absolute state they left the prison system in after 14 years. But he is not wrong. Something has gone badly wrong. When you are accidentally releasing sex offenders and fraudsters, that is not a minor administrative error. That is a catastrophic failure of the justice system. And it raises serious questions about what else is going wrong that we do not know about yet. Anna Turley, to her credit, did not try to defend the indefensible. She called for an urgent review of the mistaken releases and admitted there is chaos in the system that has been going on for some time. She said, "This feels like another rock that we have lifted up and there is just such a mess underneath that we have got to sort out." Which is a very diplomatic way of saying the Tories left us with a complete disaster and we are still finding out how bad it is. But here's the problem with that defence. At some point, you stop being able to blame the previous government. At some point, it becomes your mess, and Labour is rapidly approaching that point. They cannot keep pointing at the Tories and saying, but they did it first, when they have been in power long enough to start fixing things. The prison release scandal is symptomatic of a much bigger problem. The entire system is creaking. Prisons are overcrowded, courts are backlogged, police are overstretched, probation services are understaffed, and no one seems to have a plan to fix any of it. The Tories ignored it for years, slashing budgets and hoping the problems would magically resolve themselves. Labour inherited the mess and are now discovering that fixing 14 years of neglect is harder than it looks. But voters do not care about excuses. They care about results. And accidentally releasing criminals is not a result anyone wants. Let us zoom back out to the bigger picture here. Because the retired police officer's question cuts right to the heart of what is wrong with British politics right now. Trust. Or more accurately, the complete absence of it. People do not trust politicians anymore. They do not trust them to tell the truth. They do not trust them to keep their promises. They do not trust them to have ordinary people's interests at heart.